Boys, girls, babes, welcome back to the Jenaya Talks Caps podcast. As always, thank you all so much for tuning in today. And today I have got with me a very special guest for today's episode. Her name is Sunny. She is a big Washington Capitals fan. And well, I guess we would call it that you were saved, right? Because through no fault of your own, you used to be a Boston Bruins fan, but then you were shown the light, you were shown the way, and you were converted. And now you live a much better hockey fandom existence because of it. And for any Boston Bruins fans out there who are just seething right now at these comments by me, just relax, okay? I'm just trolling my favorite uncle who is a big Boston Bruins fan. Shout out Uncle Brad. But yeah, Sunny, a Bruins to Capitals convert here. And a nice job by me on that one. Another convert to add to my list of accomplishments as a Capitals fan. Another notch on my belt. Out there doing the Lord's work, you know? And so, Sunny, just why don't you just introduce yourself briefly and maybe just tell us like who's your favorite Capitals player and maybe your favorite Washington Capitals memory so far as well, and then we will get into it.
So yeah, as Janae mentioned, I used to be a Boston Bruins fan, and I was just kind of like a fan just to be a fan. And like I didn't have any idea who was on the team or like had no idea who was a goalie, the lines, nothing. But eventually Janae showed me the light, as she mentioned, and so yeah, I've been a Washington Capitals fan since 2016, I guess you could say. And it's been actually pretty interesting seeing the changes throughout the years and kind of understanding how hockey works because I actually had no idea how hockey worked before that. So anyways, yeah, watching them throughout the years, and I've come to really enjoy watching Backstrom. I got to say that's my favorite player. I do wear his jersey when I go to all the games, so that's my
Now you're
favorite.
watching in Sweden, but
Yeah, yeah. So that is my favorite player. But obviously, the most important part of being a Caps fan is to be able to watch them win the cup, which I was fortunate enough to be able to do, and that was obviously the highlight of being a Caps fan was watching them win the cup in Vegas in their like stadium and just seeing Ovi raise a cup with Backstrom. So that was pretty cool. So yeah.
yes, it was. Yeah, you came on board and then it was like a couple years later they won the cup. So you didn't really have to go through much suffering before just getting the ultimate prize right away. But yeah, you've been on board now for almost a decade, I guess. Um,
10 year, I got about it in 10 years, I think.
yeah, and the team for sure has undergone changes over that time, but yeah, your fandom has remained consistent here, so props to you. And yeah, first, like I said, we'll get into the episode here, but first, before we dive into today's topic, I do have, we have got some news to share here from the Washington Capitals. Cap's second line center, Pierre-Luc Dubois, he is going to miss between 3 to 4 months. It is confirmed now after having surgery on Friday to address injuries to his abdominal and abductor muscles. So, not great news there, obviously. We were hoping for something better. Initially, it was like day to day, right? They always start with day to day. Day to day turns into weeks and months too often. So yeah, some really unfortunate news there for the Caps. That's going to be a big hole to fill. And yeah, that kind of plays into our topic for today. Because our topic today, what we wanted to talk about was basically like we're gonna kind of rank Capitals problems right now. Obviously they're not winning a lot of games right now. They've lost, I believe it's now 6 of their last 7 or 7 of their last 8. They started off the season 6-2, like 6 wins in their first 8 games, and then it's been downhill since then. Coincides obviously with some injury problems for the Caps. So yeah, today we're going to be kind of, like I said, ranking Capitals problems. So we're going to take the 5 main problems or main issues that we see with the Washington Capitals right now, and just rank them like 1 through 5 and talk about each one. So yeah, I mean, let's just jump right in. Uh,
Okay.
because yeah, number one on the list, I think we all know, like I think we're all very well aware of what the number one biggest issue is right now for this team. And I have covered it like ad nauseum already on this podcast. As a matter of fact, if you missed it last week, we had a fantastic episode where I was joined by my good friend Gil of Power Play Point. And we went like in depth on the power play on on that episode. So catch that one if you haven't already. But yeah, like we all know it, right? It is the power play that is the number one issue that this team has right now. Um, I mean, I call it the power play, but like I should really be calling it the powerless play, right? Because that's really what it has been. Yeah, I mean, 15 games into the season, and it's just it's been awful, quite frankly. There's really no way of sugarcoating it. And like I said, that's the number one issue of this team right now. So that's what we'll talk about here first, because I think it is so obviously the number one problem. So Sunny, why don't you first tell me, like from a strictly fan perspective, someone who watches but has never played hockey, just tell us what you're seeing from the Caps power play from a strictly fan perspective, and then I'll try to add what I'm seeing from more of a like a tactical strategy standpoint as someone who's been through many a power play practice in my life. And then yeah, so we'll just kind of get your thoughts, get my thoughts, and then we'll dive into the rest of the list after that because I think certainly the power play is far and away number one right now.
Yeah, so like I guess I can take it from a comparative point. Like obviously we have different players coming in from like 10 years ago to like now, and then our power play used to be really good. And I know a lot of teams actually, as you've mentioned to me before in past conversations, that a lot of people used to go to our power play to look at it as an example of what works. So it's funny now that we can't get a puck to the zone to be able to shoot it into the net. Like our from what I saw last couple of games. Like I can see the frustration in their eyes and I can tell, but it's also the lack of like, let's get to it. You got 2 minutes to get the puck into the zone. And it's like the defense, like they kind of get it, kind of get it going, passing to each other, and then you give it.
Lollygag around, pissing around with the puck.
Yeah, like you're just wait, like literally the last couple of games, all I've noticed is that they're like taking forever to like pass to each other and then get into past the blue line. I guess that goes into the opponent's like the offensive zone. So it's like, okay, we just shaved off a minute of trying to get the puck into the zone. Okay, great. But then it's like, who are we passing to? Like, is anybody like ready for the puck? Like, I don't like, there's no circling, there's no like, I'm ready, like, give it to me. Like, it's just frustrating. And then the passing is one point, but at the same time, it's like shoot the puck. Like there's been so many times where they're just like, okay, they got the passing in order, that's fine. But like, why aren't you guys shooting the puck? Like if you got more pucks to the net, then there's more abilities to get a rebound. And I know we're not like so keen on rebounds all the time, and I do notice that sometimes. But even John Carlson, like last 2 games, we've noticed what happens when you shoot the puck. Shoot the puck.
Yeah, you can
You
get
know, like you
a
don't know what's
squeaker
gonna
past
happen.
Andre Vasilevsky, and then
Oh
the
my
teammates
God.
tap it into his own net for you.
Yeah, so it's like the lack of trying to get into the zone. And we have decent amount of guys to get the puck. Like I've seen Chikrin, I see Sandine, like they're awesome how they control the puck and they're defensemen. So if we got that on the back end, and then you got like guys like Protus, like he's huge, like just reach his arm over and you just be able to grab the puck off. Like I just don't understand. Like I guess it's also like I said, they're frustrated in their own way, but it's just like there is no lack of urgency. Like it's just like, oh well, the power play is gonna suck anyway, so we might just lollygag for 2 minutes just because it's not gonna go anywhere.
Yeah.
But then you kill the momentum going after your power play is dead and it doesn't work, and then you're kind of like upset that your power play didn't go through, and then your game on 5 then gets a bit affected. So it's kind of like a buzzkill essentially to their play,
Yeah.
which is not good. It's supposed to amp you up, not do the opposite essentially. Because you see the Leafs when they get a power play, it's like, oh, we got a power play goal,
My
let's
time to
get
get my
going.
cookies. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's kind of like I said, I
They're like
don't
the opposite of us. Like we just watched that game tonight, right? The Toronto Maple Leafs and Carolina Hurricanes. And the Leafs are like the complete opposite of the Caps, where it's like they don't do fucking
know
anything at 5 on 5, and then they get their power play.
because they can't. They
Yeah,
don't
and
know
then they
how
get
to
their
do
power
anything.
plays. Then they get their power plays, and they're excited to be on the power play. Whereas
Same
the
with Oilers.
yeah, a lot of these teams. Whereas the Caps, it's like they're so good at 5 on 5 if they could just figure out this power play. And so I think what you're saying is that the major point that you're seeing is a lack of overall urgency. And I do think you're right. Like that stems from, it stems from both. I think like they're clearly frustrated, like you said. Like you can see that, you can feel that emanation
Energy.
off of
Yeah.
them for sure.
Yeah.
At this point, like you can just tell that they're extremely frustrated when they're on the power play right now. Gil and I talked about that last week as well. And there's also that little bit of like a woe is me attitude out there. Like it's almost
Mhm.
like, oh fuck, here we go again, another power play. Like they don't even want to go out there to attempt it because they know that it's just so bad right now. And it's almost like they would just rather stay at 5-on-5 where they're very good, right? So I think it's partially, like you said, frustration, and then it's partially like this woe is me, like a lack of confidence right now. They don't have any confidence on their power play,
Mhm.
whereas I see a lot of confidence at 5-on-5 um, in terms of like hanging on to the puck and puck possession and things like that. The puck might not be going in as much as they would like it to, but you can tell that they have a lot more confidence at 5-on-5 than they do on the power play. On the power play right now, it's, I mean, to me, honestly, like it just looks like I, I'm trying to decide how mean I want to
Like
be.
somebody made some pasta sauce and put the wrong like ingredients and it's just not working.
Nothing's working, and it's just like I said I was gonna speak like from more of a tactical standpoint. So to me, like what I'm seeing is honestly like it just looks like an elementary school fire drill out there on the zone entries specifically. Like zone entry specifically. I mean, you've got guys like running all over the place, kind of aimlessly, not knowing where they're going. Guys are crashing into each other. Like it's just a fucking mess out there right now, honestly, as they try to get into the offensive zone on these power plays. And so they can't get into the zone most times to even get set up. So it's like I can't even, I have a hard time even really looking at what they're even doing like in the offensive zone on the power play because the times that they actually get in there are so few and far in between that there's almost not enough footage to even look at because they're spending the whole 2 minutes, like you said, just trying to get into the zone. So
Mhm.
it's, yeah, right now it's just, it's a momentum suck for the team. Like we saw that even in the game the other day against the Lightning in Tampa Bay, where it's like the Caps come out, they're at 5-on-5, obviously, to start the game, and they were dominating the Lightning at 5-on-5.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, and then the Caps get the first power play of the game, and it just generates absolutely nothing. It kills their momentum. Then Tampa comes out after that. They get a power play and they score right away on their first opportunity on the power play of the game, right? So it's, you can see it just sucking the life out of these guys right now every time that they fail on a power play opportunity. And then when the other team comes out right away and turns around and puts one in the back of your net on their first power play, their heads just seem to hang
Yeah.
even more. And the frustration is just compounding right now.
I think also like it's frustrating as a Capitals fan if you've watched, obviously you watch every game, but we don't get that many power plays. So if you get two power plays in a game, you better score on one. Like I can't remember the last time we've had multiple. Like I think we maybe had. I think the last game we played with Tampa, I think we had three, if I'm not correct.
This
And
no,
a
this
couple
last
games ago,
This last game, we had
yeah,
one power play in Tampa Bay.
one. Okay, so there was a game, the game that we had, I think we had three power plays. I mean, some of the timings of the power plays are brutal too that we get. Like it's like the end of the period, we have a power play. Like no one's doing anything with that, like to be quite honest. But we don't get that many power plays as a Capitals team. So when we get two in a game, yeah, like I said, you should score on one because you can't hold your breath. You're not going to get a third or a fourth, maybe or a fifth, like other teams get. So you got to capitalize on one, and all these games are one goal games, like
Yeah, the games
Tampa, like
there, that's what's really frustrating. And for me, that's why like when we're kind of ranking Capitals problems right now, that's why the special teams, like power plays number one, and we're gonna talk about number two here, which for me is the penalty kill, because special teams have to be at the top of the list because when they're losing these games right now, they're losing pretty much every loss that they've had, other than that 7-1 shit show against the Ottawa Senators. Every other loss that they've had, it's been like a 1 or 2 goal game, like a 1 goal loss and then maybe an empty netter at the end for the other team, right? So yeah, they're losing all of these games by just one goal. And if they could just find one power play goal in any of these games, they would be getting points out of these games. Or if they could, like I said, on the penalty kill as well, get one more kill to stop, a team like Pittsburgh from getting three power play goals in one game. You're not going to win a game when you give up three power play goals. I'm sorry. And yes, the Penguins had five power plays. Good for them. We wouldn't know what that's like. But to let still, like, even if they had five power plays, they scored
You
three,
gotta kill them.
Sunny, three times, 60% on their power play. We are 40% in that game on the penalty kill. That is not good enough any way that you slice it. So yeah, it's a combination of things right now. I think for sure, like you said, like not a lot of things are going their way right now, for sure. Like things that are kind of not really within their control. There's been a lot of bad calls, a lot of bad non-calls. There's been a lot of overturned goals that shouldn't have been overturned. There's been a lot of goals not being overturned against us
The
that should
list
have been
goes
overturned.
on.
That one, yeah, the one in the New York Islanders game, just as an example. So there's a lot of things going wrong for this team right now. And then of course, like we've talked about, I talked about with Gil on the episode last week, just kind of the puck luck as well. Like they're leading the league in posts and crossbars. They're generating a ton at 5-on-5. It's just not going in for them. So there is a luck element involved too. And then obviously there's some injuries and things screwing things up, which we'll talk about that as well. But yeah, to me, like you can only play the games that are in front of you with what you have at the time. And they're just not doing a good enough job. Like I don't care who's in the lineup, your power play should never be 1 for 20 over its last 20 opportunities. That should never be the case for an NHL team. And your penalty kill, like I said, should never be 40% in a game against your biggest rival. Like that is just unacceptable. So yeah, to me, it's power play at number one, and then like I said, number two has got to be the penalty kill because it has as well been pretty atrocious here to start the season. So Sunny, why don't you just tell me again from a fan perspective, like what you're seeing from the penalty kill, and then I'll talk a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, so I feel like technically like yeah, you kind of like some teams wait for other teams to get set up, but like there's been like especially when you're down one goal, like it's a different story if you're down three goals in a game. But if you're down one goal in a game, you should have some urgency to go get the puck from the guy. Like, like I was watching, I can't remember which player it was, but and it must have been on their last power play, like Tampa's power
Are you
play. I can't remember.
talking penalty kill now? Penalty kill.
No, I know. I'm saying Tampa was on a power play.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And I'm saying the
Oh, the
urgency
one
of them
at the
trying
end
to
of the game.
kill the yes. So there's no urgency to get the puck from Tampa. Like
You're talking about Tampa's power play at the end of that game when the Caps were down.
yes, yeah, yes. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Strome. I don't remember who it was, but and I get like sometimes you don't go around the net like this. So one of the Tampa's player was behind their net, like Vasilevsky, and our guy was just kind of like waiting for him to decide what to do. It's just like, why don't you just kind of like skate around and try to give him some like there's no pressure. Like if you give him some pressure, then the guy will, make maybe a mistake and pass it to the wrong guy or just something to just give them pressure because then they're like, oh, I need to figure out something to do before this guy tries to get the puck off me. But there's no pressure. They're just like, yeah, you decide what you want to do with the puck, and then we'll just deal with it after, which that's not a good penalty kill, especially when you're down one goal. You're not trying to let them have their way and get set up. That's essentially what you're doing. So there's no urgency on the power play, and there's no urgency on the penalty kill. Like, there's no like, yeah, I guess urgency is a good word too. So I guess urgency in both ways. And sticks, like put your stick in the way of like where they're trying to shoot. Like I know a lot of times like Tom Wilson's really good at like trying to block shots. Like I don't know if it was in this game or the game with Penguins, but he blocked a shot. And I think it was this Tampa game where he blocked a shot in his leg or something and he kind of got hurt. But I'm like, okay, you can use your body, that's fine. But like maybe use your sticks and stuff to like block them from getting the right shot they want too. Like there's no like I said, trying to get in the player's way of beginning able to get set up is what I saw.
The seam passes you're talking about.
Yeah, the seam passes because they have plays, like they'll have a play, and also like allowing them to have breakaways. Like, what did they have two breakaways on us? And like, one of the goals ended up being a goal on Thompson. I think it was a breakaway, no 2-on-1. I don't know if that was on a power play, but or penalty kill, but I think it was, but I'm not sure.
They had the one on the power play, and then they had the game winning goal in the third period was like it was a little bit unlucky with like the bounce of the puck, but then the Caps didn't have good gap control. Like
Mhm.
that was the third goal, which ended up being the game winner.
So yeah, my main thing is urgency when you're trying to kill a penalty and sticks, like using your sticks and other means of ways of getting in their other player, the opponent's way of not letting them get what they want essentially in their power play. So that's kind of where I stand with
Yeah,
that.
I think you're bang on with the urgency thing again and again. I think it just comes down to a lack of confidence right now on their penalty kill as well as their power play. Like their special teams have been so bad at this point to start the season that, like I said, you can just see that they just have no confidence out there at all. Either when they're going out for their own power play or when they're going out to kill a penalty. And you really have to have confidence on your penalty kill because you've got to be quick making those decisions, right? And like you said,
Mhm.
getting to pucks, like knowing when to break for the puck and knowing when to hang back and kind of be in a better position for the other team trying to do something with the puck. So like those kind of pucks that are up for grabs on their penalty kill, like the 50-50 puck battle type scenarios, like I just feel like they don't have the confidence right now, and so they're not being as quick as they normally are in their decision making of whether or not they're going to go for that puck. And then they're
Mhm.
kind of getting stuck and kind of getting trapped in the in between. And then the teams are able to make those plays around them because they're kind of halfway there and halfway not there. And it's just they're not making quick enough decisions right now. And like I said, I think it all comes back to a lack of confidence. And yeah, they're not executing it at all. Like I'm just looking here, like their penalty kill right now. This is updated, so including that game in Tampa Bay against the Lightning. Their penalty kill right now is 27th in the league out of 32 teams. 71.7% effective. So
Wow.
that's fucking terrible. Like the the Buffalo Sabres and the Tampa Bay Lightning are in a tie for first place in the league. Their penalty kills are 89.6%
The
effective.
Buffalo Sabres?
I know it's kind of funny, but
What?
yeah,
That's so random.
Buffalo Sabres and Tampa Bay Lightning are in a two-way tie for first place in the league at the time of recording this for penalty kill percentage. So 89.6% effective for the top penalty kills in the league. So basically 90%. And then we're looking at basically 70% for ours. So that's
Oh,
like a catastrophic difference. Like that is so bad. Like you cannot justify that. And they had a really good penalty kill last year, and they have all the same players.
same guys, yeah.
Yeah. So granted, like Pierre-Luc Dubois is out right now, so that hurts for sure. They didn't have Rasmus Sandin for several games, so that hurt their penalty kill percentage for sure. So we have to be fair there and mention those things as well. But yeah, like you have still enough guys who can do the job. Like they had a really good penalty kill all of last season, and now somehow here it's just completely gone in the toilet. And like I said, I think a lot of these things that we're talking about are coming down to confidence right now. I think if they can just get some breaks for themselves, and again, like you have to like when you're going through a run of bad luck in hockey, anyone who's played hockey knows this, you have to create your own luck. Like you have to work even harder to make sure that you get those breaks that you're not getting, right? And so that's what I want to see from this team going forward. Like just Tom Wilson alluded to it too, like just maybe whereas normally we'd be giving 100%, give 110 because we've got to get out of this, right?
Mhm.
So you have to work even harder to work for those breaks to make sure that you get those breaks for yourselves. And I think that if they can just start getting a break or two going their way, see a puck go in the net on a couple of power plays in a row, or get a couple of really big penalty kills at a key time in a game to get the win. Like if they can just start stringing some results and some moments together like that where they get some confidence back into their special teams, then I think that's going to go a long way because we don't have bad players. They're not bad players. They were the best team in the Eastern Conference last season. The roster is essentially the
And
same.
not by mistake, might I add. It
Yeah,
was full effort.
the roster is essentially the same. We have very good players who are very capable of not being 27th in the league on the penalty kill. I don't even know what their power play is. God forbid. I haven't even.
Well, wasn't their power play not that good last year? But I feel like last year things were kind of going their way in some games and that they didn't really need to rely on their power play to get them out of games. That's also why I think there's a big difference between this year and last year. Like I think everything was kind of working for them last year where they'd score a lot on five. So they're like, even if they didn't score on the power play, it wasn't a big deal because goals were just coming
They
left, right, and
weren't.
center. They was
Yeah,
working.
they weren't tight games last season. They were
Yeah. It
six
was just like we could
five.
breathe because you'd have like 5 goal like games. Like, there's multiple 5 goal, 4 goal games. This year it's like you couldn't score 1 goal against Dallas. We lost 1-0. Like one
All of
goal.
these, I do think that will turn around though, because essentially all of the pucks that are, like I said, league leaders in posts and crossbars right now, all of those posts and crossbars last season were going in the back of the net,
Right.
right?
Right.
So
That's what I mean. Luck. Everything was
yeah,
kind of going in.
yeah. So
So
everything went in last year. Now this year, nothing's going in.
yeah.
They are a top five at least, or top two, top three in a lot of categories. They're a top
They're
team.
5-on-5, like you said. It's dialed in. Like
Yeah,
there's no
they're like scoring chance generation and like all of those underlying numbers, all of those analytics, like expected goals for and expected goal share and all those things. Um, they're like I said, they're top two, top three, at worst top five in all of those categories at 5-on-5. All of those underlying numbers, like I said. So like the process is there. They're a very good team. The puck is just not going in the net. And when the puck is not going in the net, Sonny, at 5-on-5, you need to get that extra goal on the power play, or you need to keep
it's
that extra puck out of your net on the penalty kill, right? Logan Thompson, like he loses this game to the Tampa Bay
he
Light.
blames himself.
He no, but I was gonna say he lets in 3 goals for the first time all season in his 10th game of the season. It is the first time that he has let in 3 goals in a game this season. And yet it's his fourth loss of the season already. Because all of his 3 losses before that Tampa Bay game, he let in only 1 or 2 goals.
Yeah.
And he gets tagged with the loss because we haven't been able to find the extra puck into the back of the net on the power play, right? So when pucks are not going in at 5-on-5, you've got to get that extra goal on special teams or prevent that extra goal on special teams, and they're just not doing it right now. But yeah, talking about the 5-on-5, like we talked about that a lot last week as well, so I won't get into it too much here. But yeah, all of their underlying numbers, like you guys out there listening, like rest assured, the Caps are a very good team. Like all of their
Yeah.
underlying numbers at 5-on-5 are phenomenal. Like they're a very good team. It's just not going their way right now, and they've got to find a way to dig themselves out of it. And the way to do that, I think, would be on special teams, getting that extra goal or preventing that extra goal on special teams. So we'll move on to number three here. Um, for me, I would say that probably so far this season, the third biggest problem or issue that I'm seeing with the team is just line chemistry, especially since Pierre-Luc Dubois has been out with injury. And who is your second line center now? That's the thing as well, because we now know he's going to be, it's not murky anymore. We know exactly how long he's going to be out for. It's going to be 3 or 4 months. That's a really big blow, taking him out of your lineup for multiple months. So they have to find a way to replace what he does for that second line. And so I don't know. I don't know who it's going to be, who's going to step up. Connor McMichael, to me, honestly, hasn't looked great at center so far this season. He, to me, looked way, way better on the wing last season. And I think they're kind of forcing him into that second line center spot now with Dubois out, which is maybe not great for him. I know he was a natural center back in the day, like in his junior days, and he wants to play center. So they give him the first crack at it, but it just doesn't seem to really be going all that well. So yeah, for me, it's who is your second line center now that Pierre-Luc Dubois is going to be out for an extended amount of time, and with that comes the issue of line chemistry because to me the lines just are not really gelling other than that top line of Alex Ovechkin, Dylan Strome, and Anthony Beauvillier, which, by the way, as we all saw posted today from that analytics website, Ovechkin, Strome, Beauvillier, they are the number one most dominant line rather in the league at 5-on-5. They have the most, or the highest, I should say, they have the highest expected goal share of any line in the National Hockey League this season, that Ovechkin, Strome, Beauvillier trio. So they have obviously a lot of chemistry and have played very well together. So that line, I think you obviously leave alone. But yeah, that second line, third line, even the fourth line, because the fourth line kind of depends on like who's moving up to potentially the third or even the second line. So they kind of have to see how it all shakes out. But I think you start with the trying to fix the second line and you go from there and let the rest of the chips kind of fall where they may. So, Sonny, what are you seeing with like in terms of just, line chemistry and all of the line juggling and jumbling that they've had to do
Yeah.
with Pierre-Luc Dubois being out?
So I think also like the more important thing is like so now that we know he's going to be away, like now we can kind of figure out a line and kind of stick with it. I don't think it helps that like the lines keep changing every game, which fair enough, we've had some injuries, but now that you know, like now is time to like confirm who's on what line and keep it that way, unless a couple games it doesn't work, then you make an adjustment. But my big thing is, and I watched him during I didn't watch all the preseason games, but I did watch a couple enough to kind of say that Sonny Milano should be in the lineup more often than he's been not. Like I don't understand like why he's not in the lineup. Like I think I've only seen him twice out of the games that we've played now. I can't remember exactly, but it's not fair enough to be like, oh, he hasn't done anything. I'm like, he's been so like he's like he looked really good in the preseason. Like he was scoring and he had a lot of points. I can't remember off the top of my head what he had in goals and points, but between him and Lapierre and I think Leonard, they were really good during the preseason. And Leonard is Leonard is Leonard is crazy good. Like I know a lot of people talked about him, and I finally get a chance to actually watch the guy, and like he's the only guy working on the ice. Like I've seen and him and Beauvillier, but going back to lines that they work on, but Sonny Milano and Leonard, like I think they should be on a line together. I don't know if they already do because I don't remember the lineups too often, but you put Lapierre, and again, I don't know their positions. I don't remember all the guys' positions, but like if
They
we had
were
Milano,
that
Lapierre, and Leonard on a line, that would be crazy.
that
Like,
was a line, Sonny, briefly, but they only kept it together for like a game and a half.
and wasn't that a game where they had something going and then like I don't know if it led to a goal, but like you need guys that are gonna move the puck around like at a faster speed because you have that with the first line and yes, it's a 40-year-old Ovechkin, but for his age and stuff, like the line goes pretty fast. Like they're really like moving the puck around really well. And
Because
so
they
you
move the
need
puck fast. If you move the puck fast, then you don't need to skate as fast. Like
yeah.
even
So like
Dylan Strome is not the fastest player in the world either, right? But
no.
the way that he moves the puck, he makes such quick decisions and great
Yeah.
passes and tape to tape passes. And he's like making, like I said, really quick decisions where he's moving the puck really quickly. So that makes everything go fast, even if you're not the fleetest of foot, right?
Mhm.
And yeah, the line that like clearly like I know people have had like their complaints about Ovechkin's start to the season, myself included. Like Gil and I talked about it last week.
He looked fantastic last game.
He's picking it up now. You can see that. Like I think, like Gil and I talked about last week, like he missed the entire training camp with a lower body injury, right? It did still appear to be bothering him, at least to start the season here. So it seems that that might still be a bit of an issue, but because he missed that entire training camp and because he was dealing with a lower body injury. That's why I was kind of the mind of like, okay, it doesn't look great right now, but let's maybe give him a little bit of time to kind of get back into the swing of things and get used to being back on the ice again and really get into the swing of things and get back to full throttle. And I think you can see now the last few games that his game is really picking up a lot. He's moving a lot better, he's skating
Mhm.
a lot better. His stride looks a lot better. Like everything just looks better for him over the last few games. So that's a huge development. That's going to make a really big difference if he can continue playing like that. And obviously, he's doing something right on that line, as are the rest of his teammates, Dylan Strome and Anthony Beauvillier, because yeah, like I said, number one, they're the number one line in the National Hockey League this season of lines that have played at least 75 minutes together at 5-on-5. They're the number one line in the National Hockey League this season in expected goal share. Over 70%. They're over
Wow.
70% expected goal share at 5-on-5. So for Ovechkin, I
So,
think you always want to see the goal totals and the point totals, but I think that if you can just fix the fucking power play and start getting
or if
some
we put more younger guys on the power play, like,
like all top players, they all get a bunch of their cookies on the power play, right? If you're not getting anything on the power play, then your numbers, of course, are going to look lower than everybody else's. That's just a fact. And the Caps have not been getting anything on their power play. So by extension, Alex Ovechkin has not been getting anything on the power play. So basically all of his numbers are at 5-on-5. If you were to look at his numbers strictly as 5-on-5 numbers right now, like 10 points, whatever it is in 15 games, that's pretty fucking good for a 40-year-old with pretty much all of those coming at even strength, right? So you just need to, like I said, start adding some on the power play and it's going to look fine. But yeah, in terms of like how he actually looks on the ice and not just the points. I think his whole game, but especially his skating has looked a lot better the last few games and his puck handling as well. Like he just looks like he's getting kind of more back into the swing of things like I said like he's not fumbling the puck as much anymore and yeah definitely moving a lot better so that's a huge development for the Caps assuming that that's going to continue but yeah, like you were talking about the third line. We'll get into Ryan Leonard specifically because that's a whole other topic. But like you're talking about the third line and Hendrix Lapierre and Sonny Milano and Ryan Leonard that they should play together. They did play together for a couple of games, but again, like we're talking about with kind of the over juggling here of the lines,
yeah.
they play together for just a couple of games and then they break it up right away and they're on to something else again already. So yeah,
Well,
they're
if
not.
we were, go ahead.
No, no, you go.
I was gonna say, I'm not just saying Milano for the last couple of preseason, like this year's preseason, but like before he got injured, last year, before he had got injured, he was playing phenomenal. Like he was really good for us. And like I said, I can't remember what position he plays, if it's winger or center, but he was really effective in terms of being able to drive play for us. So he is an important factor, especially if he's healthy and he's playing really well, to include him in the lineups, like to replace other guys that might not be as effective or driving plays enough. So my guy is Sonny Milano. Like he should be in the lineup like every night,
He
if
brings a lot
anything.
of speed and he brings a lot of, I don't know what you want to call it, fancy stick work, fancy plays, whatever, but like he brings a lot of creativity to the lineup, which I think is a nice to have. And a lot of speed, which is very important. And yeah, I'm right with you. Like I wish he would get more of a chance. I don't understand why the coaching staff seems to hate him. Um,
I don't
honestly,
think they hate him.
I know that they don't actually, but it does seem that way because he doesn't seem
Yeah.
to get as much of a fair shake as everybody else. Ethan Frank and other guys like that. They keep
Hmm.
getting put in the lineup without really doing much. Although Ethan Frank, I will say, had a very nice assist the other night in Tampa Bay. So there's that for him. But yeah, I just Sonny Milano, like you said, like in the preseason, it was like he and Hendrix Lapierre that were leading the entire NHL in points in the
Yeah.
preseason. Sonny Milano had, I think, 5 goals in the preseason. I believe he led the NHL in goals in the preseason as well. And that was with like Sonny Milano and Hendrix Lapierre playing on the same line together in the preseason. That's how they were able to do that. And what was driving that was those two playing together, and they both end up leading the preseason in points. Like I said, across the entire National Hockey League. So I want to see them get more of a fair chance. I don't know if it's because like Spencer Carberry and the rest of the coaching staff, maybe they're already thinking ahead, like maybe they're already thinking down the line to like when we're in the playoffs. Is that a line that you would really want together? I don't know.
Mm.
Just because of some of the defensive shortcomings and whatnot, and they're not really the strongest on the puck. But I think right now, game going into game 16 of the regular season, what we need is goals.
Put them on the power play.
Yeah, right now I'm not thinking about what's going to happen in the playoffs because right now I'm thinking about making it to the playoffs. And to do that, we need goals. So
Oh.
I would yeah, it is stressful, but I mean that's the reality that we're in right now. So I want to see guys in the lineup who can score some goals. I want to see guys that have some chemistry together while Pierre-Luc Dubois
Yeah.
out. And I think that those are two guys who have already shown that they have chemistry together. So why not give them a little bit longer of a leash and let them play together a little bit? Because yeah, that the third line, like going all the way back to the beginning of last season, has just been a massive problem. And when you look at it, like in those couple of games that they played together with Hendrix Lapierre centering Sonny Milano and Ryan Leonard, I thought that line was really, really good. Really good.
Yeah.
They had the puck a ton. Like I believe their puck possession was like up over like 70% or close to 70%.
And isn't Carberry all about puck possession?
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
the team has the puck, then the other team doesn't. So
That's how he likes to play. He's all about like the best defense is a great offense, right? Having the puck all the time.
mm,
So yeah, I'd like to see that line get a little bit more leeway from the coaching staff. I'm trying to justify in my head. I'm trying to justify in my head why he hasn't given them that little bit longer leash, and that's really the only thing that I can think of is that maybe he doesn't see that as a long-term solution, like going into the playoffs.
yeah, I guess you need something consistent that's like your like hardcore line for that.
Yeah, but I
Like
also
I remember when the fourth line was our fourth line, and our fourth line was like a lot of people's like second line. Like I remember when Hathaway was on the line way back before he got traded. And our fourth
you
line
love
was
Hathaway.
Oh, Hathaway was my guy. Like I love it, especially when we played Penguins. He was like a penguin, like you call it, a penguin killer.
Hanging
So
killer.
yeah, like the fourth line would be playing against Crosby's line. Like our fourth line was like I remember everyone being jealous of Capital's fourth line because it was literally like a main second line, but it was our fourth line. We had like four lines going. Like it was
It was our shutdown line that we could play against any
yeah,
team's top line, and they would
yeah,
come out either even or on top against the other.
yeah. And we kind of need a line like that.
And this is the problem is that for me, that hasn't really been there this year as much with the fourth
Mhm.
line. They're still playing well defensively, but they're not adding the offense that we're accustomed to seeing from our fourth line. So it's been a little bit different this season. And then I think now you look with Pierre-Luc Dubois being out, he's your go-to shutdown center, right? So it's a big hole right now for them to fill. They kind of have to figure out, like I said, I think step one is like who is your second line center? You have to figure that out first, and then everything kind of trickles down from there, and you can figure the rest out from there. Because is McMichael going to continue playing center on the second line, or is he going to go back to the wing? If he's not going to be playing center, then who the fuck is?
Who do
Like,
you think should?
who do I think should? I mean, not Justin, sort of.
Oh my God, Justin, sort of. Only if I see that guy on the
He,
line, I'm just
no,
thinking,
he
plays dead.
he'd probably
Plays
be
dead.
no, he'd probably be a perfectly serviceable and perfectly great fourth line center, but not like top nine. No, no. What are we doing? Like the guy has 1 point, Sonny. I don't understand. And to be clear, I'm not shitting on Justin sort of, okay? I've seen a lot
Neither
of
am I, but it's just like,
I've seen too many people being like, why is everybody being so mean to Justin sort of? I am not being mean to Justin sort of. I am sure that he's a perfectly nice dude. He seems really nice. He seems like
he
a
looks like he's trying, but
he seems
trying isn't good enough when you need a goal.
No, it's not even about him not doing enough. It's about them putting him into a role and pushing him into a role that he can never succeed in.
Right.
He's not built for that. And that's on the coaching staff. That's not on Justin sort of. You can't expect this guy to be your third line center and think that that's going to go okay. Like they're trying to kind of shoehorn him into a role right now that he's not up to. Like
Yeah, he was playing with Leonard, right?
that's not his game. Yet for God's sake, like we'll get to Ryan Leonard. That's number 4 on the list is get Ryan Leonard
Oh.
more ice time and some better line mates, but we'll get to that. Um, but yeah, like to me, like so again, just want to make it clear, I'm not being mean to Justin Sordif, okay? It's not about Justin Sordif. It's about what position the coaching staff is trying to shoehorn Justin Sordif into, and it's not fair to him because he's never going to live up to it because that's not his game. So I don't know what the answer is right now because I don't think that they have a really good internal option right now. I think when you look at it long term, it's probably Ilya Protas,
Mm.
little pro. But like he's a natural center. He's a humongous guy. Like he's just a monster of a man, just like his older brother. And yeah, he's a natural center and he's got a lot of offense and he's probably going to be a very important player for them down the line. But right now, he's so young and he's just started his professional career this season in Hershey. So for the time being, right now, like with Pierre-Luc Dubois being out, I don't think that they have a really good internal option. But it's tough because, like Gil and I talked about last week, you really don't want to go, throwing A+ prospects out the door to try to fill this hole
Oh my God,
when
no.
you know that Pierre-Luc Dubois is coming back before the end of the regular season as well. So they're in a tough spot right now. They kind of just have to get through
Stick it out.
this 3 to 4 month window without Pierre-Luc Dubois. They just kind of have to get through that with what they have, and just kind of do the best that they can and hope for the best. But yeah, I don't think that they have a perfect option right now. I think McMichael on paper would look like the best option, but to me, like eyeball test, it just hasn't looked great for him centering that second line. They're not getting a lot. He's got, I believe, 1 goal still, so like, and hardly any points. Like he's really not getting a lot. Whereas obviously on the playing on the wing last season, he was everywhere. Like he was getting
Mhm.
points every night, right? So
That line was killer.
yeah, yeah. So it's I don't know. It's tough right now. Like it's for the second line center spot specifically. I feel like they don't really have a perfect option. I will say, and I said this to you off air. We're jumping back to number 1 now with the power play, but for the power play, honestly, at this point, like I'm of the mind, like call up Andrew Crystal and see what that kid can do because he can play on a power play. He is very creative. He's like Mitch Marner light. So, that's a move that I wouldn't mind seeing. He can go up and down without waivers. They've got to try something dramatic here because it's so bad right now, the power play. So that's something that I would like to see. The power play will be fixed, by the way, at the end of the season when they sign Cole Hudson. Power play's fixed.
Yeah, have you
But
seen his brother in Montreal?
yeah,
Like, holy, like we were playing against someone, I remember last year, and their penalty was pretty decent when we faced them in the playoffs, and that was without Hudson. So it's like now
no,
they've
they
got
had they
Hudson.
had they had Hudson last
Did
season.
they?
They same thing. They had him. Like they had signed him at the end of his college season, and so yeah, they had him last season, and in the playoffs against us, they had him.
Yeah, their power play was great. Like now it's even more deadly because now they've kind of got into it and now they're playing them regularly. But it's just like, yeah, once we get his brother, that like you said, that should essentially fix.
Power play's fixed once we sign Cole Hudson. But for now, we have to get to that point, and we have to be in a position where we can make the playoffs for that to matter, right? So
I feel like I'm gonna be optimistic, and I do feel like we're gonna make the playoffs. It's just like shit needs to just go in, just kind
I'm
of like hockey gods, just give us one,
I don't know.
know?
Um I don't know that there has ever been a team that has the underlying numbers at 5-on-5 that the Washington Capitals have, where they're so dominant at 5-on-5, both in like, offensively and defensively, both in like expected goals for and expected goals share and expected goals against and all of these things. Like offensively, defensively, everywhere on the ice at 5-on-5, they are a dominant team. So I don't know that there's ever been a team that's that dominant at 5-on-5 that has that kind of underlying numbers at 5-on-5 that hasn't made the playoffs. That might be the first time ever.
Because you know our luck.
No, but I'm saying that though
I
to
know.
give hope, right? Because
Yeah.
I think people are freaking out right now,
I'm
and
not freaking out. I just wish we'd win a couple of games so our points can,
yeah,
but I'm not worried generally. I just, it'd be nice to win a game here,
yeah,
there.
I just to me I don't want
Oh,
to see to me I don't want to see this spiral to the point where it starts affecting their like where their confidence on special teams or lack of confidence on special teams bleeds into the 5-on-5
5 on 5.
and starts affecting their confidence now at 5-on-5. That's what I don't want to see happen. I don't want to see it start spiraling into where their play at 5-on-5 goes in the toilet as well. Because I
Mhm.
think as long as they keep up what they're doing at 5-on-5, they're going to win a lot of games and they're going
And
to
I think they could see that,
win.
like Tom Wilson even said in his interview, and a couple of other guys said, we just need to get past our power play woes, and everything will start clicking. I don't think they're very worried about their 5 on 5. I think they themselves know that they've even said they're dominant on the 5 on 5. So I think if they could just have that mentality and kind of leak it into their play in the power play, then maybe it'll, eventually change. So, like you said, you only need a couple of goals to go in, and then just, things change.
Losing all these one goal games. Yeah. Let's move to number 4 because I don't want to keep you here all night. So number 4 on the list of issues for me right now, I alluded to it just a moment ago. Uh, we have to find more ice time and better line mates for Ryan Leonard because many nights he has literally looked like the best player on the ice for either team. They are not using him enough, and they are not using him in good enough situations. He's like just overall, he's not getting enough ice time. But then, as well, when he is on the ice, he's not playing with good enough players. They're not using him on the power play as much as I would like them to. And as much as I think there's no reason not to at this point, with the power play doing what it is or doing what it's not, I should say. Um, yeah, they're not using him enough and they're not using him in good enough situations to me. So, Sunny, why don't you tell me, like, what have you seen from Ryan Leonard? What do you like? And who do you think he should be playing with? Like, where should we see him in the lineup?
So my first question is he a winger or center? I can't remember.
Winger, right winger.
Winger. So every game that I've seen him play thus so far, in a couple of games, like more, I think we've only played one or two morning games or something, but in general, his play is
Thank
like
God for
he's
that.
yeah, because we suck in the morning. It's
Yeah,
like an automatic
The
loss.
Caps are historically so
You
great
might
at
as well just not watch the game because we're gonna lose, because we're just like
sleeping,
waking up, came out of your pajamas and went to the locker room. It's like, oh, I gotta play a game, just
just
like
sleeping, just
no, Ryan Leonard, like, and I remember you talking about Ryan Leonard, and it was just like, Ryan Leonard, who's this Ryan Leonard guy? And he's like, oh yeah, he's kind of like a little mini Tom Wilson, does everything. And I'm like, I didn't know who he was. And then finally got to see him play in the playoffs last year. And I was like, who is this guy? Like, he's literally like, and he's doing it even now as you're talking about it. Like, he's everywhere. Like, he's killing, like, he's trying to get the puck off the guys, like he's making driving plays, like crashing into the net, like he's everywhere. And you can tell that, like, maybe that's just how he plays. And I know a lot of people, like, I know you talked about how he used to play in the AHL and stuff like that, and how he was like top tier player. And
NCAA
yeah, and
for
yeah, okay,
Boston College.
so
Yeah.
Boston College. So, but you can see it like he's like last year. I know he had played his couple of first NHL games, and he was kind of like trying to get into his role as an NHL player, because I think it didn't transfer over yet. But this year, like, you can tell he's like not just ready to play as an NHL player, but like he's dialed in every game. Like, there's not one game that I've seen where he's like half awake or like not like I don't see him making mistakes. Like, he's like hard on the like plays that he's got to make, and like, yeah, driving to the net, or even trying to be like defensive, like doing everything, all little things, big things, to just keep the puck moving, or just what kind of carber he wants. So I feel like he's the hardest working player on the team right now, as far as I've seen. Like, and I know there's a couple of other guys too, but just from what I've seen, like, he's 100% every night is what I've seen on the ice from him, in terms of the team comparatively. So that's kind of what I've seen. And you need a guy like that, but you need more than just one guy doing that. But in terms of what he's brought so far, and having him come onto the team thus so far. Like that's kind of what I've seen, and that's pretty impressive for him for his first full on NHL year, I guess you could say. So yeah,
Yeah, he's one of those guys that like every team always talks about you want guys who hate to lose. Like you don't just not like to lose, you actually fucking hate to lose. And Brian Leonard is that guy. Like you can see he absolutely hates to lose. And he shows that every night. He's such a to me, he's such a like he's got to be the most mature 20-year-old hockey player that I've ever seen. Like he's always in the right spot. He does the right things defensively. He does the right things along the wall on the boards. Like he just makes so many great little plays, like the details of the game. He's just dialed into those, like you said. And yeah, I mean, the offense is starting to come for him. I talked about it in earlier episodes as well, but yeah, like he's getting his offensive confidence now at the NHL level, which we knew would come. We knew it would take a little bit of time, but we knew it would come because he was such a big goal scorer at Boston College. So yeah, we knew that that was in his game and that it was going to show up for him eventually at the NHL level, but
mm-hmm.
I think it's showing up even quicker than a lot of people thought. And he's all over it. Like he's all over the ice. He's all over the puck. He's creating so much out there. And yeah, to me, like it's frustrating to me when like he's playing with players who are not necessarily
At
as
his level.
yeah. And so he'll make all these great plays and he's like dancing around guys and passes the puck to himself behind his back or through his legs and like all these fancy moves and still hangs onto the puck. It looks like he's got the puck on a string a lot of times. Like you just cannot get it off of his stick. He's so good with his stick handling and whatnot. But yeah, he makes all these great plays to set somebody up and get the puck over to them and then they immediately lose it and then we're out of the zone again, right? So I just want to see him, like I said, getting more ice time for sure, but getting the right kind of ice time as well, playing with the right players, playing with better, more skilled players. Not to say that
Like
like
he shouldn't be to the second line. Like put him on the second
yeah,
line.
it's not to say that it's not to say that anybody that's on an NHL roster is not a good hockey player because of course they are, but there's different levels to it. And certain players are more skilled than other players, and certain players can hold on to the puck better and do more things with the puck. And I just want to see him playing with line mates who have a little bit more skill and can, hold on to the puck possession a little better and not immediately lose it when he gets it to them after making all these insane moves to hold on to the puck and then he sets them up and they just immediately fumble and it's out of the zone. So yeah, I want to see
Not
him.
gonna say the name.
I
I'm
already,
not gonna
I
say.
already, no, no, I already, he already caught some strays in the episode. So no, no, they did have Justin sort of centering Ryan Leonard, and I got up and walked out of the room at that point. I wasn't having it. Um, but again, it's not Justin sort of's fault.
I know, I know.
It's not Justin Sordo's fault. It's just like put him with somebody who like I like that line that they had together for a couple of games, like we said, of Hendrix Lapierre centering him and Sonny Milano. I think it's a really offensively skilled line. They create a lot of chances. Yes, maybe it's not the best defensively, that line. So again, I'm just thinking of like what Spencer Carberry might be thinking. He might not see that as a long-term solution as a third line because he doesn't trust it defensively to go into the playoffs. Um,
Mm.
but for now, it's fun and they create a lot of scoring chances. So like
And
even
you need the points.
yeah, even guys like that, like I'd like to see him even playing more consistently with guys like that. At least so that like, when he gets them, like I said, when he makes a bunch of insane moves to hold on to the puck and gets them the puck, they're not going to just immediately lose it right away. And maybe we actually get a grade A scoring chance out of it and maybe even a goal, right? Because like I said, right now we need goals. That's our primary concern. We can think about the playoffs when we get there, right? We're not there yet. So yeah, get more ice time for Ryan Leonard. That has got to be a priority for me. And then just moving ahead to our last one here, number 5 on our list of Washington Capitals problems or issues, whatever you want to call them, so far this season. This one's tough for me because I don't even want to have this on here. Like honestly, like uh Gil and I talked about this a little bit last week on last week's episode, and so it might even seem like I'm doing a little bit of a 180 here, a week later, because just last week I was saying how I didn't want to hear this conversation yet. But a week has passed since then, and I kind of am ready to talk about it now, a little bit at least. So for me, number five on the list is they're just not getting good enough or reliable enough or trustworthy enough or whatever you want to call it play on a consistent enough basis from their backup goaltender right now. And like I said, you know that I hate to say that because I love Charlie Lindgren. You know that I love Charlie Lindgren. I say it all the time. I think he's the ultimate teammate. He's a consummate professional. He's a great guy and he's a hell of a goaltender. But like this was a major, major strength of this team last season. And it was a big reason why they extended both guys, right? Both Logan Thompson and Charlie Lindgren signed to contract extensions by the Caps. And a big reason for that was because the strength of their tandem in net was a major strength of their team. And, you know, it allowed them to accumulate a lot of standings points, even on the second nights of back-to-backs where your backup goaltender is typically playing. And we just aren't seeing that here so far this season with Charlie Lindgren. Like Lindgren right now, he's only won one game in five starts, right? And his numbers individually are not great. Like he's got just pulling it up here right now, he's got right now an 878 save percentage. That is stinky, man. And he's got a 3.59 goals against average. So he's allowing almost 4 goals against per game on average. Um, and yeah, I mean, we can talk about like the reasons for that because certainly it's not all Chucky. Like I find
No, no, it's not.
goals against average, it's goals against average is not really a goalie stat so much as it is a team stat most of the time. But when you combine it together with the save percentage, that's where you get more of like an accurate picture. I think save percentage is one of the best stats for goaltenders. It's certainly the best traditional stat to look at how a goaltender has been playing. You can argue that some of the underlying numbers, goals saved above or below expected, and things like that, maybe those are even better for evaluating a goaltender's play. But in terms of like the traditional stats, save percentage is like the creme de la creme, right? Like that's what tells you how a goaltender has been playing. And to be 878 again, it's not all his fault. I don't think the Caps have played good defense in front of him at all because he is typically playing on the second half of those back-to-backs, right? And I think he's got a tired team playing in front of him most nights on the second half of those back-to-backs. So that all factors in as well. But like there's no scenario where Charlie Lindgren should have an 878 save percentage. There's just not. And so it's hard to justify for him at this point. Like I said, I'm not going to put it all on him because it's not all his fault. Certainly, it is to do with the team's play in front of him as well. But yeah, any way that you slice it, like 878 is just not a good number when you're looking at an NHL goaltender. And the other thing is too that like with the Caps playing just an unhinged amount of back-to-backs this season, like they've played the most back-to-backs in the league so far with 4 already through just 15 games played. And so I mean, yeah, like with the scheduling gods having very decidedly not smiled upon them here, they really do need their number two netminder to be a guy who can come in and make enough saves to get the 2 points on at least some of those nights. And so far, Chucky, like I said, hasn't been able to do that. Um, like I said, as much as I hate to say it, right? Because I truly do love the guy. Um, Now, the good news is that, like, before I'll let you go off here too, but like the good news is, I want to get this in there as well. The good news is that we know that Charlie Lindgren is capable of that, right? Because we've seen it. Like we know that he is a very capable NHL goaltender, backup goaltender. I don't even want to say backup goaltender because he's been more like a 1B for the Caps since he came to the Caps, right? He's definitely been not your average backup goaltender. He's been much, much better than the average NHL backup goaltender. So we've seen it before from him in the past, and we've seen it consistently from him in the past. We just need him to start bringing that level of play on a more consistent basis again. And we do need it right now because we need points, like I said. And I will say as well, I've addressed this in some of my videos already, the post-game reaction videos, but I do see a lot of fans directly comparing Chucky to Logan Thompson directly, like I said. And I'm here to tell you guys that, like, guys, we don't need to be doing that, okay? We don't need to be doing the direct comparison of Logan Thompson and Charlie Lindgren because Logan Thompson is Logan Thompson. Like he's your starter, he's your number one. He is literally one of the best goaltenders in the entire National Hockey League. In fact, so far this season, he has been the very best. In fact, in last season's Stanley Cup playoffs, he was the very best. So he's accumulating now a long track record here as a Washington Capital of being one of the very best goaltenders in the entire National Hockey League. So Logan Thompson is just really, 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 really fucking good. And to compare your backup netminder to that, and to hold him up to that same standard, and say, here, look at Logan Thompson's numbers. You should be doing this to Charlie Lindgren. That's unfair to me. Like that's unfair to Chucky. So just throwing that out there because I have seen a lot of fans doing that. Like I said, I've mentioned it already in some of my other videos, the post game reaction videos and things like that. I might have mentioned it in a podcast episode before as well. But yeah, I like to keep bringing it up because I have seen a lot of fans doing that, and I just think that that is honestly like wildly unfair to Charlie Lindgren. To, like I said, take Logan Thompson's numbers and be like, here, look, you should be doing this. This is what we need.
Oh.
No one in the entire NHL is doing that right now other than Logan Thompson. So he's literally been the best goaltender in the NHL this season. And like I said, that's going back to last season. It's in last season's Stanley Cup playoffs. He was the best goaltender in the Stanley Cup playoffs as well. He was a top 5 goaltender all through the regular season last season. Like you can't hold your backup goaltender up to that standard and expect him to do that same thing. But at the same time, we do need Chucky to do more than what he's been doing. We do need him to play a little bit better for sure. Like I said, it's not all on him. It's on how the team is playing in front of him as well. Um, but I mean, that's part of the gig when you're the backup goaltender, right? Like you're gonna get the second halves of those back-to-backs. That's just the reality. That's what the gig is. Like I said, as a backup goaltender in the NHL, you know that your team plays several back-to-backs every season, and that's kind of going to be your role, right? Is that you have to still be able to get some standings points in those games on those second halves of those back-to-backs. So we need better play from Chucky in order to be able to do that, to be able to start accumulating some points again in the second half of those back-to-backs. And I just think that so far his play hasn't been up to that standard. It hasn't been up to his own standard. I'm sure that he would tell you the same thing. But yeah, it hasn't been up to that level that we need from him in order to be able to start accumulating some points again in those second halves of those back-to-backs, which we play a ton of them this season. So we need to get that figured out. He needs to get that figured out. And I just want to see him up his level a little bit here. Sonny, what do you think about like what have you seen from Charlie Lindgren so far this season? What do you think about how the fans are treating him, and just what would you like to see from him going forward?
So first of all, for those people hating on Chucky Lindgren, he was literally like, if not our starter a couple years ago when Kemper couldn't save a beach ball. So let's just put that out there before Thompson was in the game of thick of things.
Oh, we do not make the Stanley Cup playoffs in that season without Charlie Lindgren.
No, and that's kind of what I'm getting to. So, like, we had Kemper, who was supposed to be our starter, couldn't save a beach ball. Like, I could probably do a better job, even though I've never played
Okay,
hockey in my life.
not that easy.
But, I'm exaggerating, but I'm getting to the point that he was not our starter. Chucky Lindgren was our starter. Like, he became our starter. And because he played so many games and because we needed him, he ended up being, our guy for the playoffs. And because he played so many games in the regular season, he was exhausted. And so I think that people hating on Chucky Lindgren need to take a step back and reevaluate what you're saying, first of all. I think this stems from back when what I just mentioned about the Cole Kemper thing. Like Chucky Lindgren became our go-to guy for goaltending for long periods of time before Thompson was in the picture. So I feel like for Chucky, like we depended on him as much as he depended on us. And so there was kind of like that, like solid, like understanding from both sides. And we played pretty decently in front of him for the most part. So now come Thompson, and last year was a goalie tandem. So it wasn't like Thompson was like said to be our starter, but like we didn't really have a starter, but we kind of assumed Thompson was going to eventually be the starter. But they were in the kind of like the same plane of like respectful, like meaning like they're both even plays like of goalies. Like, you know, Chucky Lindgren's our guy and Thompson's our guy. It wasn't like
Coming in, yeah.
it wasn't like a starter or a backup. It was just like they were equal plays, right? This year is a bit different where it's like they have their contracts. We know that Thompson's now gotten the go ahead of he is the starter and Chucky's a backup. So I think for Chucky, it's an adjustment in terms of mentally because he was so used to being their guy and now he's not. And not to be rude or anything, I'm not saying anything against it, but he's not their guy. Thompson's our starter, he's our guy now, and Chucky's now been, I guess, in that way, yes, sort of demoted to being a backup. So I think that's mentally an adjustment. And two, I guess it also plays into how he's not like, not that he doesn't have urgency in his own play. I just feel like now he's like, I can kind of exhale a little bit, and now Thompson's like, you know, the starter. So my play is not that he's thinking that. I'm just saying that there is a bit of, well, I'm not really the starter anymore. So like I don't need to have that much pressure on me like I used to have before. So I feel like because he doesn't have that much pressure, his game is a little bit different than what we're expected to having. And last year, like I said, there wasn't that, there was a little bit of pressure on him because we didn't know what we are going to have out of Thompson. But now that we do, he's just like, well, Thompson's our starter. So I guess like I'll still have my guys, like I'll play my best hockey, but there isn't that little oomph that he used to have. And I think, and it's kind of early to say that because it is the beginning of the year, but that's kind of what I take from this. And he's a really good like backup goalie still, like considering, and like, yeah, sometimes he doesn't have the saves that say Thompson would have, but again, he is now our backup goalie, so the expectations need to be brought down for Charlie. But at the same time, like, yeah, he could make a save a little bit here or there when we need a save to make the big difference in the game. Like against, I think he was playing against Penguins, if I remember. We watched the other day. Like I can't remember, but there was a couple of times where he, yeah, could have had that save, and that would have made a big difference in the game. But like that's kind of where I'm getting at. Like there's maybe not that oomph of like extra like 110 that we're kind of getting used to getting from him. And the guys play totally different in front of Charlie Lindgren and Thompson. So that's also a big picture. Like they do not seem as confident in front of Chucky as they do in front of Thompson. Which is also a problem with Thompson because you can't always play loosey goosey with Thompson in net because now you're allowing a two
They're
on
like
one.
wheel and
So
deal, run and gun, baby. When Logan Thompson's in net, we can do whatever the fuck we want.
yeah, but now then you're allowing two on
Internet.
ones. It's not okay to allow a two on one multiple times in a game just because Thompson's Thompson. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so, but they also play differently in Chucky because they're not as offensive with Chucky and net because they're trying to like just be defensive. But even when they're trying to be defensive, they don't even do it well in front of Chucky because they're just holding their breath, making sure that nothing really, you know, gets to in front of him. But yeah, so that's kind of where I have what I have to say in terms of Chucky Lindgren. Like I feel like people need to calm down in terms of how mean they're being with Chucky because he is our backup, but at the same time, like I feel like we get a little bit more out of Chucky, but you know, that's kind of where I am with Chucky Lindgren. So yeah.
So I think what you're saying is that you believe that there's like a little bit of a subconscious thing that's kind of like in the back of his mind. He knows that like Logan Thompson's here now, so like the team's still going to be fine even if I don't have my best game all season. And like you said, it's not like he's actively thinking that, but you're saying you think there's like a little bit of a subconscious underlying thing where he can kind of take his foot off the gas just a little bit because he and not have all that pressure on himself because he knows that at the end of the day Logan Thompson's going to be there and the team's probably going to be just fine anyway. That's what you're saying, I think, right? Like that maybe his focus has just slipped a tiny bit because of
Essentially.
yeah, subconsciously he knows that the team is probably going to be fine whether or not he's at his top level or not.
Like keep in mind, people, Chucky would be a great starter for any other team. Like, I'm sure he'd be better than a couple
Oh,
of
they'd
other.
love it. In Edmonton, they'd pick up the phone
I
right
was just
away.
gonna say anybody better than Skinner and Decker tandem. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
Oh
Stan
man.
Bowman could not get on that phone fast enough if the Caps were to start shopping Chucky around. But yeah,
And
no,
Chucky is older. Let's all keep in mind Chucky is older than Thompson. I don't know how many years, but
he's a little bit younger than us, so let's relax. He's not like grandpa lingering out there. Jesus.
okay, but you know what I mean. Like he's older than Thompson. He's not in his 20s.
Yeah,
So
no, Thompson's younger.
yeah.
But
So we need to keep that in mind too. There's an age gap difference. So,
no, and I think that is interesting what you said about how the team plays in front of each of them because I do think there's something to that because I feel like right now, because Chucky has had a tough start to the season, it almost looks to me like they're overcompensating a little bit when Charlie Lindgren is in net because they want so badly to get the win for him, but it's like they're kind of overcompensating defensively, where it's almost like they're trying to play too much defense and it's kind of taking them out of like what their game normally is, which is puck possession and creating chances and things like that. More so on the like Spencer Carberry says, right? Best defense is a good offense. Get down to the other end of the ice and stay there, and the other team's not going to be anywhere near your net. I think that they're almost playing too careful defensively with Charlie Lindgren in net, and some people might laugh at that and say, "What are you talking about? They're giving up so many chances in front of him." But that's what happens though when you're playing too careful, right? Like it's not that they don't care to play well defensively in front of Charlie Lindgren. It's just that when you try too hard to play too defensively, it kind of goes the other way a lot of times because you're not
Mhm.
doing all of the things that you're used to normally doing because you're trying to overcompensate to not let them get anything in your zone. And to me, that's just kind of what it looks like right now. Like they're almost like sitting back too much, trying to protect their net. And that's kind of giving the opposition too much space to work with
To
because
work around, yeah.
yeah, they're kind of sitting back too much. They're not having the same like gap control, like crossing over their own blue line into their own zone. They're not having the same gap control with Charlie Lindgren in net because I feel like they're just backing off too much and like staying back too much. Again, because they're trying to protect him, but it's backfiring because you need to do the same things that you do all the time and that you're used to doing. You need to have good gaps. You need to, push on the other team and push the play, not sit back. Does that make sense? Like, and I feel
Mhm.
like they're being too careful with him in net right now. And it's kind of backfiring and it's kind of resulting in more chances, actually, which is the opposite effect that they're
What you
wanting to
want.
have, right? So yeah, I don't think it's like a lack of effort in front of him or anything like that. Like the team all loves him, like they love him. So I don't think it's nothing to do with that for sure. But yeah, I do think that that's interesting what you say because I think there's something to that. Like they do seem to play differently in front of both of those guys, and they do seem to spend a lot more time in the offensive zone when Logan Thompson is in net. And I think the reason why is because they're so comfortable pinching
Too
down,
comfortable.
yeah, pinching down to keep pucks alive and things like that in the offensive zone. Like their defensemen will jump right up into the rush. They'll pinch all the way down to keep a puck alive in the offensive zone, and they're comfortable doing that with Logan Thompson and net. Too comfortable, maybe, like you said, but they're comfortable doing that with LT and net because they know at the end of the day, breakaway or 2-on-1 or 2-on-0 the other way, he's going to save it 99 times out of 100. So it's yeah I think there is something to that, like they do play differently with each guy in net, but at the end of the day, like I said, it comes down to I love Charlie Lindgren, but I do need him at this point to make a couple more saves just because we can't be in this situation where it's like every second half of a back-to-back where he's in
You
net
lose.
is a
Yeah.
loss. We can't have that, and we can't have that with him giving up almost 4 goals every game,
Yeah,
right?
because then you're trying to, we're already having problems scoring on our power play. So, like, you
Exactly.
know,
If you're not getting anything on your power play, then asking for 5 goals a night at even strength to be able to win the game on the second half of a back-to-back, that's a big ask.
yeah.
So we need an extra save or two sprinkled in there from Charlie Lindgren in order to be able to have success on the second half of those back-to-backs right now. And we're losing a lot of points right now on the second half of back-to-backs. Like I said, they've already had four of them this season through just 15 games played, and they have a lot more this season. So they do need to get that sorted out for sure. Um, Sunny, any that's our list. That's our top five things. Are there, let me just ask you, are there any other concerns that you have that you want to get off your chest? I asked you the same thing I asked Gil last week. What's on, get it off your chest, whatever it is. If you have any other concerns or things that are worrying you about this team right now.
Not that it's a worry, but I don't know. I can't figure out where Carberry's head's at. Like, like I know you talked about it when he first came on and how the guys would like you even said like as a joke, obviously, how you die for Spencer Carberry. And so like I'm
That's not a
just
joke. That's not a joke.
I'm just wondering like last year was his full everything with the Ovechkin's record, being broken and stuff. So I feel like there was an extra sprinkle of magic in the room. And so I'm just wondering if he's having a difficulty trying to get the guys to play his system, I guess you could say, with them jumbled lines, and just trying to see what you see from his end, if you can see anything at all. Just
I think
curious.
I think they're playing his system, and that's no problem. I think that they all believe in his system. I think that they all know his system. I think that they're all doing it, and there's 110% buy-in. I don't think that's an issue at all. I do think there's something to what you just said, though, about the magic of last season and everything that surrounded last season with the goal chase for Alex Ovechkin, and how you can sometimes have, similar to how you have a Stanley Cup hangover this season after winning a Stanley Cup, how you can sometimes have a little bit of a hangover in a situation like this where, you literally just witnessed your captain break Wayne Gretzky's all-time goals record. Yeah, all of these guys, like, you never in a million years would have thought that you're going to end up on a team that you're seeing that record be broken right in front of your eyes, and maybe even being on the ice for the goal, right? So I do think there's something to that part of it with the magic of last season, and how sometimes there's maybe a little bit of a hangover from that going into
Mm.
the next season. So that's an interesting point, because I do think that that could be possible. Um, yeah, for me, I mean, I think I pretty much covered my concerns. It wasn't a very positive episode, to be honest with you.
I
Um,
mean, I still like. I gotta say, I still love our plays and stuff, but just get the goal in the power. One goal in the power play. Like, I'm not asking for like 3 out of 3 or 2 out of 3.
that's the thing. A bunch of these teams are like going 3 for 5 or whatever on their power play, and I'm like, I would take one. Just
One
give me
exactly, just one.
just give me
That's
one power play goal, and they would have won a lot of these games.
And we scored like I think we scored one or twice on the power play because there was a point in the beginning of the year where we didn't score anything, and then finally I think we scored in one game or two games. We scored on our power play, and we're like, "Is this it? Are we getting our
And then
power play
Strom got
back?"
injured, yeah. And then Strom.
Then yes, and then so I think Strom getting injured, you could literally tell that our play was just shit. Like Strom going away and not having Sandine, it was just like, oh no, like what's happening here on the ice? Like we can't like we were just not making sense on the ice. And it was just kind of like it was scary because I'm like, one guy, like actually two guys, get Sandine and Strom. So let's say two guys.
I think it's
But
not
it
even
just
just it's not even just offensively though, and on the play for Dylan Strom, it's also like what I've really noticed about him and what I've really learned about him now through watching him for a few seasons with the Caps is that, like, going all the way back to that first season that Spencer Carberry became our new head coach, the first season that we had under Spencer Carberry, where they just barely squeaked into the Stanley Cup playoffs, right? Which was considered a miracle at the time for that roster. But yeah, going all the way back to that season, Dylan Strom for me was like, he was a guy that was like him and Ovechkin and Tom Wilson. Like, those were the three guys that were like really, really, really driving that playoff push. And Dylan Strom scored so many big goals in those games when we were pushing for that last wild card spot, in which we needed literally every single one of those goals of his. Like, because we were winning
mm-hmm.
games by the thinnest of margins. Like, we were winning by one goal, or we were winning in overtime or in a shootout. And we needed every single goal that we got from those guys in that time. And he scored so many big ones, so many overtime goals. He really, really, really showed up for the Caps in that season. And then last season, of course, he's their leading point scorer. He was phenomenal all last season again. And then this season too, it's like when I watch the way that like even that game against the Pittsburgh Penguins in Pittsburgh, even though they ultimately end up losing that game on a power play goal by the Penguins in the third period, the way that they were able to come back from down 3-0
Yeah.
and it being the top line of Dylan Strome, Alex Ovechkin, like those were the guys driving it, right? Um, Obviously we knew that Alex Ovechkin has that fire in him. Like we've seen that for 21 years now. Great to see that he can still do it at 40 years old. But yeah, for Dylan Strome, like that's something that I've really learned about him during his time with the Caps is that I don't understand why anybody let this guy go. Not only he's so good offensively and with the puck and all that, and he can make plays and he can score goals and all this, but he is a leader, Sonny. Like he really
Mm.
to me, like he's
He's
really
like the mini Backstrom that we needed to replace. Like he's
he,
literally like
yeah,
he's
and he's really like he's really grown into his role on this team and he's really grabbed the bull by the horns and he's taken that number one center spot and he's really ran with it. He's set career highs over and over and over again every single season that he's played with the Caps so far. And it's the on the ice and it's the off the ice as well in the locker room and in interviews and then what you see on the ice, like I said, not just the points, but like when we make a comeback like that or when we need a goal to make the playoffs, we need a goal in overtime or we need a goal to tie a game or whatever. Like he is one of those guys, along with Alex Ovechkin, Tom Wilson, and others, that he is a real leader of this team. He's become a real leader of this team. And to me, that's really exciting because he's still young and he's signed here at a very affordable salary cap hit and he's going to be
how
here.
long is he signed for?
He signed a 5-year extension
But
at only $5 million per season. Yeah. So he's signed a ridiculously affordable cap hit for what he brings. And he's going to be here for a long time. I think they'll re-sign him again after that contract comes out. And I think he's going to be wearing a letter on his sweater once Alex Ovechkin eventually retires. I think Tom Wilson's probably going to be your new captain, and Dylan Strome's going to have an A for sure. Because yeah, to me, he's really become a leader of this team, and you saw it again. That was just the most recent example. But that
Mhm.
game in Pittsburgh, when they're making that crazy comeback from down 3-0, he's driving that, right? Him and Alex Ovechkin. And yeah, he's just to me, I love the guy. Like he's one of my favorite.
Same.
He's one of my favorite Capitals players at this point, and I just think he
Oh,
does
we need to get one of a jersey.
Strom jersey. I
I
don't
know
know.
you were talking about getting a Protus jersey, but the Strom
Uh,
jersey,
I don't know what my next one is.
you said Protus. I think you mentioned when we were talking off
Yeah,
air
I
one
want a
time.
Protos jersey for sure, but there's a couple guys that I want now, like so I'm
I
not sure.
mean, Strom has become like you said, like a vital part of the team. Like he is like Wilson, like we all know once Ovechkin retires, like I think you mentioned they're thinking are probably going to have Tom Wilson as the captain, but having Dylan Strome as well as the number, like I said, like we used to think of our five core guys, Carlson, Ovi, Backstrom, Oshie, and I think I named all of them. Yeah, those main guys.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Carlson, Backstrom, Oshie, Ovi.
Okay, so I can mention all of them. So I'm just saying, like we're kind of segueing into the part where we're gonna have to replace those guys, which we already have. But being able to have Wilson as a leader, and now we've got Strom as a leader. There's a couple of other guys. I think Leonard would be a great, also another
I
leader.
think
I think you
Leonard,
mentioned that
Protus. Yeah.
Protas. And I think there is guys that can take those positions and also carry the team in that way of leadership, like those guys did in the past and as always doing right now. But because Backstrom used to be the number two guy too, he had the A on his letter. I mean, jersey, sorry. And so I feel like Strom, in a way, has kind of filled that Backstrom gap that we essentially needed and wanted. Although we all wish that Backstrom could still be in our team. Considering I've heard from the grapevine that he's playing hockey again. So
Did I say to you the other day? I was like, I'll just throw this in here at the very end of this episode. because most people are probably already tuned out, and this is a crazy, crazy theory, but not even a theory, but a thought that I had is wouldn't it be crazy with the Caps, Pierre-Luc Dubois now going to be out for multiple months with injury? They need a second line center. I know when Nicholas Backstrom came back from his hip surgery initially, he came back right afterwards, like right after he was finished with the rehab, and it didn't look very good. Like he was slowed down a lot. He was never the fastest player to begin with. He more so uses his brain, but he was definitely slowed down. It didn't look great. And ultimately they put him on LTIR, and then eventually his contract runs out, and now he's over playing in Sweden. But from what I have seen of those games in Sweden, the extra time in between when his Capitals tenure came to an end and all of that extra time that's passed now that he's used to recover even further and probably train a lot more as well, all of that extra time seems to have done him a lot of good, Sonny. Like he looks pretty good over there in Sweden. And I know it's a different game over in Sweden than it is in the NHL for sure, but I'm just saying we need a center here. We have a hole at second line center. And wouldn't it be something? I don't know how those contracts work in Sweden. I don't know if he could even get out of that contract, but wouldn't it be something if they were able to get him back on just like a cheap 1 year deal and he can fill in at second line center while Pierre-Luc Dubois is out. And then when Pierre-Luc Dubois comes back, you can drop Backstrom down to third line center, which is also a big hole that you've had that hasn't seemed to work out with anyone yet. The third line, like I said, was a huge problem last season and into last season's Stanley Cup playoffs. Pierre-Luc Dubois comes back. He takes back his 2C spot. You slide Backstrom down to be the third line center. Wouldn't that be something? And then he can get the proper send off that he so deserves and that he never.
Yeah, because he never got one. Yeah.
Yeah. And so again, I don't know, like I could be like, I don't know. I could be just completely off my rocker here. I don't know. Like I haven't done any research into this. I don't know how those contracts work in Sweden. I don't know if that's even a possibility if he could even get out of his contract over in Sweden. I don't know if he would even want to. He's already moved his family over there. It was just a thought that I had and kind of like a hey, wouldn't this be fun kind of thought.
Would
So
solve our woes.
yeah. Yeah, so anyways, we will call it a day for today. We have talked about a lot here today. I don't know how long this episode is. It's for some reason not showing me here, but I believe it's been pretty long. So we'll call it quits here. Yeah, Sunny, thank you so much for joining us here today. I know you were really looking forward to this. You've been just bugging me forever to come on here and talk about the Capitals. Borderline harassment, actually, just
Hey, I did hot laps when they were in the playoffs. So, I mean, I love my Caps. I love talking about them. Anybody that brings them up, I'll just go on and on and on and on.
as
So
we
yeah, I
have
love
here
talking
today.
about them. And
As we have here today, we've gone on and on and on. But no, yeah, you've been bugging me to come on for a long time, so I'm happy that we were finally able to find a slot to get you on and something that you wanted to talk about and what you've seen with the team and everything. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a ton of fun. Any last words or?
just everybody be positive. I'm going to be positive. I feel like we can just breathe and just let them play their hockey. I'm sure they'll figure it out, as Caps always do figure it out. Just be positive. That's all I got to say. I'm
Hakuna
going to be
Matata.
positive because I believe in my boys.
Matata. Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, and our listeners out there, whether you are listening in audio only, either on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whichever podcast platform that you use, or whether you were watching in video version on YouTube. For those who don't know, by the way, if you are listening in audio only, there is a video version available now for you as well. If you would like to take advantage of that, it is on the YouTube channel under the same name, Jenaya Talks Caps. You can subscribe over there as well. If you wanted to, like I said, get the video version of the podcast, or if you wanted to see some of those post game reaction videos as well that we do after every Capitals game, those are always fun. So yeah, head over there to YouTube if you haven't already done so. Subscribe over there as well. But yeah, whether you're listening in audio only or watching the video version, just wanted to thank you all so much for being here today. Thank you all so much for listening. It's been a ton of fun as always. Hey, if you don't mind, leave us a rating or a review. 5-star ratings only, please. Leave us a rating or a review if you did enjoy the show. Always appreciate that. Share us with a friend or a family member, a fellow Caps fan. Get the word out that we're over here talking Capitals hockey all the time here. And yeah, as always, leave us your comments down below. Always love reading your guys' comments. Caps fans always have some really great insights. Let us know what you guys have seen from the team so far this season. Maybe even drop me like what are your top 5 problems or issues or concerns with this team right now from what you guys have seen. So leave me those comments. I always love reading those. And yeah, just thank you all so much for being here. Until next time, babes. And as always, let's go, Caps.